Do you think Hitler died?
I do. I've watched that whole series.
What series?
So there's a series on History Channel with Bob Baer, who was a former CIA guy, and they got together.
Oh, like Finding Hitler or whatever?
Yeah.
It's kind of reality TV-ish, but some of it was real.
I just don't think someone with Hitler's ego could any way possibly keep quiet for 50 years.
I also don't think someone with Hitler's ego could kill himself.
Maybe, but I wonder if that was what happened and it wasn't some like, you need to kill me because I can't kill myself.
You know that the purported remains of Hitler...
Yes, they're not him. I know that. That show didn't...
That was funny. So for people that don't know, in like 2008 or something, something happened where some people that were holding it in Russia allowed foreign people to come in and examine the remains. And they're like, oh shit, this is a 35-year-old woman who's not Eva Braun. Right. And Putin was just like, oh, you get that now, don't worry. And like everyone shut the fuck up about it. But
I'll tell you, what was more convincing is that Martin Boorman may have survived.
Well, yeah, because they tried to say like he got shot on the side of the road or was never seen again.
Yeah. There's some decent. They did a decent job with him in that, convincing me.
I think that is a conspiracy. I do believe because the FBI also completely
they thought it
believed
was possible. Yes.
No. Like speaking to people there that were there after the fact. In all fairness, if we're going to be honest here, like I've talked to Jim Dorey about this. I talked with some other guys about this. That was like a known thing. You can Google it right now. I'll put the picture in the corner of the screen. There was a list of images they kept of what he would look like.
Oh, sure.
And none of them thought he was dead.
Right. Well, in the Finding Hitler, they present documents where they're going into Argentina, they're going into parts of Chile, they're going all over South America looking for him.
So here's why I bring this up, though, because I'm cool. Like, if you don't think that happened, that's fine, because there were still a lot of other guys who did get out. I think the cult leader was actually somewhat important. I also don't think Hitler could have lived for that long. He was really like a very sickly man.
Yeah.
But there's another guy who I got connected to through some people who have been on this show who will not be coming on this show. Some of those guys, they're never going to come on camera.
Sure.
But he told me a story. I'm not going to go into the whole deep thing, but essentially he was being bothered by a friend, I guess, who was in a very high place at a very, very, very big company, who had nothing more than just a weird hunch on somebody who they were, this isn't exactly how it was happening, but let's say hiring for a major position at this company. And the guy I talked to said to him, what do you mean you have a hunch? And they're like, well, we think he's a Nazi. And my guy started cracking up exactly like that. Like, what? And he's like, what do you mean? They're like, no, like we think he's like a German leftover Nazi. And they're like, he's like, what's the guy's name? And it was some German name, and he was from South America. And he's like, oh, you're watching too much TV. This is crazy. He's like, all right, why do you get this feeling about this guy? And they're like, I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. He's like, well, is he a dick? And they're like,
he just hates Jews.
They're like, no. They're like, he wears very nice suits. He's the nicest guy ever. And we just have a weird feeling. And so the guy I talked to said, listen, I'm not going to take your money. Relax. Do your fucking deal. It's not a big deal. They keep coming back, though. Keep coming back over and over and over. Come on, you got to take a look at this. Come on, please take a look at this. Finally, the guy says, all right, fuck it. I'm a capitalist. I'll take your money. I'll take a look at this. This is a waste of your time. Shit you not, the guy was a Nazi.
Wow.
He was a card-carrying South American holdover from the rat lines. I'm not going to do it right now, but, like the whole fucking every picture with every kind of salute.
Yeah. Wow.
Got all the evidence of it. And it is, look, it's not to say like, oh, if you're German living in South America, you're Nazi. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there's some.
Sure.
There's a few.
Yeah.
And so I say this because, do I believe that there's like, some Fourth Reich running the world or something? No. However, do I think there could be some weird shit happening with some people who have this very false idea of like some fallen empire that never even happened, that they just want to like rebirth out of some sick, sadistic, twisted, racist, whatever?
I'll say that is something. Was there an aspiration amongst former Nazis who escaped on the rat line to South America that they could do some Fourth Reich kind of stuff? I actually think Finding Hitler did a very good job making the case on that. Like even finding places where they might have been trying to work on developing a nuclear weapon or a nuclear reactor. I mean, there was definitely all sorts of suspicious stuff in there. They just didn't convince me of like the core thesis. But a lot of peripheral stuff, I came out of there saying, wow, they're, again, was it something that they were in a serious place to do something about? I don't know. But were there people who thought that one day they could try and re-emerge? And was Skorzeny potentially one of them?
Could have been.
Yeah. Right?
Could have been.
Right? And so...
They had networks all over the place. It wasn't just South America.
Right. And there was multiple operations. Someone posted... I went down that rabbit hole actually 2 nights ago, and there was an operation, I think it was in Germany, where there was definitely a former Nazi who, with the knowledge of the West German government, assembled a bunch of other ex-Nazis to basically, in the event that East Germany invaded West Germany, they would be like almost guerrilla warriors. And this is not even a denied plot. It's like a acknowledged idea. And then you could always get into this crazy stuff. Is it connected to Glaido?
To who?
Operation Glaido. This is one of the craziest...
To explain.
Man, people are going to wonder what do I do with my time? So
You write books and research.
So if it's the kind of thing where if I said it to you and you didn't go and look at the degree to which it's been verified, you would think I was an absolute whack job.
How do you spell it?
Glaido, Gladio. But European governments have confirmed its existence. And what it was what we call a stay-behind network in Europe. And it was people who were living like double lives as sort of, sub rosa, regular people, but who were part of a network that would work actively against the Soviet presence in wherever in Europe. Many strong suspicions that they were part of sort of a false flaggish Days of Lead type of situation that they had in Italy. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but there was a wave of terrorism, and was it being blamed on left wing, right wing?
Yes.
Many people believe that was a Gladio related operation, and this was something that went on for decades. When the Cold War ends, European governments have filed full-on, like their parliaments, full-on reports confirming that there was this secret group of, like, quietly paramilitary trained people who were ready to do and step up to do any kind of anti-communist operation, up to and including terrorism, false flag, that was on the table. And it was being run behind the scenes, very sort of sub rosa.
And what's the connotation here? Why'd you bring this up?
Because you could make a case that Gladio was the kind of operation that somebody like Skorzeny would have been key in maintaining that network, right? Because part of who you would go for would be, again, you need the most anti-communist people possible who are willing to take those risks. It would be ex-Nazis living in Eastern Europe, for instance. And who has connections to those kinds of people? Skorzeny, possibly.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.